Good morning, my dear friends and beloved community. I know that you know this, but I wanted to underline that we are starting phase 2. So a very, very warm welcome to Awesome's phase 2 program. This is our space, and it's a space in which we all want to grow. And we want to grow together by feeding one another and nourishing the space and making sure it is safe, and that we practice all the respect we can for the teachings for ourselves and for one another. And so to set us off, I wanted to speak about Chrysalis's symbol of the butterfly and of what the butterfly represents for us. Because remember, the butterflies were once caterpillars, right? And so the idea here is that as we think of ourselves and we bring in this practice of mindful yoga, that we appreciate that yoga is really about this process of transformation. It's really about this process of revolution, we can say, this process of complete change. And so it could be that entire change of a circle that becomes a little bit more like a spiral, right? So if we picture a spiral on its side, that we are turning all the time, but we keep going higher and higher. And it's this idea that the caterpillar transforms. It has to transform to release the butterfly, just like each season has to transform to give birth to the next season. So when we look closely at every aspect of life, there is some process underway. There is a process of what is called birth or involution. There's a process of evolution, and there's a process of dissolution. And we know this in terms of our physical bodies. We know that all of us will return to whence we came from. We know the notions that the metaphysicists tell us, that we are made of stardust, that we are stardust. We know that we're composed of atoms according to the Western periodic table. We know that according to yoga and Ayurveda and many other traditions, we're composed of all of the elements that comprise the universe. So these lives are extremely precious, because just like the caterpillar, we have within us, the butterfly, they say, has what is called imaginal cells. It's contained in the caterpillar. And it's these imaginal cells that know about this process of metamorphosis, this process of change, this process of transformation. And so as we have our own imaginings within us, we want to be able to imagine, what is it that I am becoming? What are the dreams of my ancestors, and what are the dreams of this life in terms of the butterflies that we wish to birth, the next phase that we want to step into? And so I want to pause for a moment so that we can really absorb this idea, this notion that there is the possibility with this 6-month path that we are treading together, that there is the possibility of beginning it by pausing and just dropping in the question, what are my wildest dreams and imaginings of what I wish to do with this precious life in terms of transformation and what I can imagine? So it's what I can imagine, right? What I can imagine. What can I imagine to give expression to this energy, this life force, this presence of this incredible life that is being lived here? So if I imagine myself as the caterpillar, what am I imagining about becoming this butterfly, about developing wings? What does all of this mean for me? How might I wish to fly? Where might I wish to fly? What experiences do I long for? And how will I harness and leverage these gifts that come with wings? And it may be for some of us that after this invitational welcoming video that we wish to draw our butterflies, and that we may over time wish to come back to this question again and again and again. Within this life, and given the framing of this life, what am I hoping to unveil and to emerge, so that the steps that I take in phase 2 are steps that are moving me closer and closer to this imagining, to these imaginings. And if it helps, remember, we can come back to this pause, this practice again and again and again. And if we wish to see one another pictured behind us, if we wish to see our loved ones, our ancestors pictured behind us, it's a helpful way of remembering that we are living the dreams of those who've come before, and that many, many, many communities, including the awesome community, we have one another's backs. And if there is a need to drop even deeper, there is also the imagining of, what do I wish to create and to offer to the generations yet to come? So we may want to picture all of these generations yet to come before us. What am I imagining for them? So that this phase 2 is harnessed. It's really gifted in the sense that we use the opportunity and all of the teachings to refine this life, to become the beings that can thrive, to become thriving beings. And so perhaps exhaling and being aware of about 3 of our exhalations. As we allow this practice to come to stillness, and if the eyes have been closed, allowing them to open. It may be that we drop the chin to the chest to do so, that we gaze down and take in the wonder of this body and this life, and that we then raise the heads. So every good wish, and remember the drawings of the butterflies can become as colorful, as flamboyant, as filled with imagination, and that the surrounding areas can be extremely rich because they depict where the butterfly is moving to. They're allowing us, really, the invitation is to be filled with imagination of how this life, within this context, this life that we are living now, might thrive. From caterpillar to butterfly, and for us from phase 1 to the end of phase 2 of the awesome Wellness Leaders Program. And by the end of phase 2, if we have satisfied all the requirements, we become qualified mindful yoga teachers. And we become, in a larger sense, awesome wellness leaders, able to serve from a much deeper place, our communities, our people, and share of these butterflies, of this butterfly joy with others, so that we may almost become infectious in our love, in our joy, and in our service. Thank you so much for your attention, and may everything with this video invite you always to pause and to remember that we are living consciously in love and in peace, and that we are consciously cultivating joy and being there for one another. Be well. Thank you.